Welcome to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast, where every week, Kirsten and Jeanne dive into the essential topics to fuel your business growth. From copywriting to course creation, mindset to video marketing, they've got you covered. Tune in for expert guest interviews on all things marketing and business, and learn how to work on your business, not just in it. So, get ready to unlock your business potential and take it to the next level.
So what if you could turn your knowledge into a profitable online course that sells itself without working 60-hour weeks or constantly chasing clients? Today we have James Allen, and he's going to reveal the 3 key steps to creating and selling courses that practically sell themselves. Welcome to the show, James. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, guys. Super excited and honored to be hanging out talking about course building.
It's something you're loving, you're passionate about it, because I know you and I had a quick conversation. Tell us what led you to helping other people create courses?
That's kind of like yours about how became a business you never really intended on. You just kind of fell into. I used to be in construction after high school, and that's what my dad did. That's where he kind of found success. So he made 6 figures, and he was just working all the time. So I didn't know what I wanted to do with a career for my life. So I pursued that. And pretty early on, I realized that I just don't want to do this. It's a lot of hustle and grind, nonstop traffic, driving back and forth. And I see people online and thinking like, wow, it'd be so cool to teach something on the internet and be able to get paid for it, but I had no clue how to do that. I was doing well financially in construction, but I was just like, it'd be so cool to do that. And I was really into personal development. It really helped me early on in my life with confidence and really changed my life. So I was like, man, if I could help other people do that, that'd be incredible. So I found out about coaching as a career, and I thought that's what I want my job to be. And I became a spiritual life coach at 22, and I left my 6-figure job to start this business because I figured, you know what, the sooner I start, the sooner I'll figure it out. And I don't care if it takes me 10 years or whatever, I'm just going to do this because I know I don't want to do that. So I got into it, and it was way than I thought it would be. At the time when I realized that I wasn't really getting a lot of fulfillment for the spiritual life coaching, it just wasn't what I ultimately wanted. I wanted to do what I'm doing now, helping people live like that laptop lifestyle. It's what I wanted for myself. And it was always inside of me, but I didn't have the skill set to match it. So I got into productivity coaching because I did have a skill set with that, just being efficient with my time. I was working with a lot of coaches and sales professionals and that kind of stuff. And that's where I learned about online courses and digital products, because I was all about how can I make more money and decrease my work hours? And I was like, wait, passive income, that's incredible. You can do that. So I built about 6 different courses, 5 or 6, and they didn't make me any money. And then I decided, thought about quitting times, said, no, I'm going to figure it out. I have to figure it out. And I built a course finally, and I did things differently in the way that all kind of showed. And I woke up to my first sale, which to me was literally a $200 sale in my sleep. And then it turned into another one, and then another. And the next thing I knew, I was covering my rent every month just on autopilot. And now it has become a 6-figure income. But yeah, as I was starting to get results with that, some of my coaching clients were noticing, and they were like, hey, can you help me do that? I'm like, I feel very unqualified, but I will give you a shot and I will try and help you. And I ended up helping this one woman who was a fitness coach, and she had no clue how online business worked or anything like that. I was just helping her clean up her computer and be more efficient. And she had no audience, 0 tech skills whatsoever, totally intimidated by it. And yeah, she was petrified of the camera as well. So I helped her start a YouTube channel, surprisingly, and her YouTube channel ended up surpassing mine, which was awesome. She was getting hundreds and thousands of views on every single video, and that was driving traffic to her product. And in the span of about 56 days or something like that, she sent me a screenshot that she made $1,500 from courses. And I was like, wow, that's incredible, So I realized that, wow, I can actually help people with this. And that's kind of what started Profit Your Knowledge. And now I've worked with, many clients over the last 3 years doing Profit Your Knowledge. And it's been really fun.
Yeah. When you said you created a lot of courses and they didn't sell, I was laughing because I think so many people do that. I know Jeanne and I have done that because it is a big learning curve, right? And so, yeah, so I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing with you.
Oh, no, I get it. You can laugh at me too. It's okay. It was a long time of doing the same thing over and over again. And that's what a lot of people do. It's insanity. But I think that people make it way more complicated because that's how we have been taught. It's just this huge complicated beast, and we have to build this massive 37 module course, or something crazy. And because we associate more content with more value, but that's not always true.
And for a time it was, let's make this course as long and as, full of everything as possible. But then things changed and people no longer wanted a course that was 10 hours long. They wanted short. They wanted just to know what they needed to know. So, even the industry itself changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, shorter, more concise courses that are really focused on a specific result tend to do better.
I think it's the result. People forget because I think we're often so passionate about what we do. We love talking about it. We just know so much. A lot of times our clients don't need to know all of that information. They just need to know what they need to know to get the result that they want. I mean, they bought your course not because they want to listen to you talk. They bought your course because at the end they want something to happen, right? And so I think that's something we're constantly editing our courses just to make sure they're efficient and they're easy for everyone to learn from. And it's definitely an ongoing thing to figure out how to make it the best experience possible for the client. You started helping other people do it. And then, what was the biggest aha moment for you as you started working with more and more clients, helping them create successful courses or products?
The first big aha moment for me personally was that all those courses I had built, every time I mentioned that story, people were like, okay, what's the difference from the ones that failed versus the one that was successful? And now I've built many other courses that have done well. The big difference was that I actually listened to my target audience. What a concept, right? But before then, I wouldn't do that. I would just say, this sounds like a cool idea. I'm going to make a huge course about it. And then nobody buys it. How disheartening. But that's what people do. They say, this seems like a cool thing. I see people building this thing. I'm going to go make it, And it's like, that's not the way to do it. You listen to your audience. And if you listen to it, it doesn't have to be like years or months or anything. It's just pay attention. And you'll notice that people are saying a lot of the same things about where they are, where they want to be, and there could be different things. Like lately, I mean, we talked about me hiring a VA. So I'm thinking about building a VA course just because it was so beneficial to me. And then my audience is also, I can just see how it would benefit them. And we talk about, I'm even helping a couple people currently, like current clients, like get their own VA because it's going to really help them. So I'm like, well, I might as well make a course about it because my audience clearly desires that. Right. So you really have to listen to your people. That was the really first like big aha. And market research.
It's funny because, I feel like bookkeeping is something that most people hate doing. Like they don't enjoy it. They don't really know what to do. They're, kind of afraid of the IRS, so to speak. So I've been thinking about helping clients learn how to keep their bookkeeping and then introducing them to bookkeepers that they could hire in the Philippines who would do all their bookkeeping for them, for like $6 an hour. And it's really funny because I've had a couple conversations with different people that I told Jeanne, I said, I think I'm going to lean into this and start the market research for this to see if it's a viable course and make sure I would know what everybody would want. And so we were talking in our coaching call the other day about this. And the end goal is I need to speak to between 75 and 100 people before I'll actually sit down and do that course. People need bookkeeping and they need to understand the importance of bookkeeping and the most efficient way to do it. But it's not something they want to think about or want to talk about. So sometimes what people need is not what they want. So it's finding out like, how do you have a value proposition for people who, truly need a bookkeeper? They need a virtual assistant who can do their bookkeeping, and they need to understand the basics of bookkeeping and managing that VA who's taking care of their bookkeeping. But do they want it? Right. And how do I put that marketing message out there to make it clear what they get and how it will benefit them? So market research is so important and you learn so much. Do you find when you're doing your market research and you're talking to people that you learn more than you ever imagined?
Oh, yeah. And my clients do too. Like, it's the first thing that we do the first week of usually to most clients, I should say, because a lot of people come in with like different situations. Some people really know their audience, but with people who don't, or they're thinking about building like their first course, even if they do think they know their audience, I still have them go do research. And then they come back a week later and they're like, dude, I learned so much. Like, it's crazy the way they think, what they feel about this, how they feel about that. And they just really understand their audience more. And I think it's just a habit that we should get into as business owners to not just like make it an event, but have it just be like an ongoing thing that we always do. Like me, for example, I'm scrolling through YouTube. I find a video that's similar to me and it's like, oh, I can make my own version of this. I'll go through the comments and I see what people are saying. And like one of them, my most recent one, it was about the 10 best digital products to sell in 2025. I looked at some other videos because people have made similar videos and no one was really addressing like the whole Etsy thing because everybody's talking about Etsy. And a lot of comments were saying, can I do this without Etsy? And nobody was ever responding. So everybody's like, you have to sell on Etsy. So in my video, right in the opening, I say, and no, you don't need to be on Etsy in order to make these work. Some of them do, So I'm addressing that even in like YouTube videos and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love how you're reading what people are talking about and using their wording and their questions. I love that. And YouTube comments is a great place. Where else do you do you recommend that your clients find their profitable course idea?
Past coaching calls, if you've done many coaching calls before and you've taken notes, which I hope you do, you can go back. And when people say something that's just like a trigger word, or I like to think of emotionally charged phrases is what I call them. So instead of like, I want to get lean, I want to get a six pack. It's like, okay, that's very vague, but like, why do you want to get a six pack? And then they explain their reasoning behind it. Like that's more emotion involved. And that's what's actually going to help someone move the needle in my copywriting, or when I'm explaining something, they're like, oh, he gets me because that's how I feel inside. You know, it's like we have layers to ourselves. We have the surface layer of like, I'm upset. Like, okay, well, if you unpack why they're upset, you get to the real reason. And you want to find those real reasons. That was a huge mistake I made first doing customer research. I just had like, I want to make more money and a bunch of like vague terms. And then when I really got down to the nitty gritty of what's inside and how they're really feeling, that's when I started to write better copy. I started to explain the message better. So yeah, that's awesome. If you do sales calls or enrollment calls, even if people don't sign up, incredible opportunity to add to customer research. So I have like a customer research document. You can do a spreadsheet too. And it pretty much just figures out like, where are they at right now? What's the big challenge that they're facing? Where do they want to be? And then what's getting in the way? Why haven't they done it yet? That's essentially it. You know, it's pretty much the crux of a sales conversation. Where are you at? Where do you want to be? What's preventing you from getting there? Okay, here's my solution. Do you want to work together? That's a great opportunity. I remember one time I was on a enrollment call with someone. He ended up signing up with me, but even if he didn't, I would have still walked away with so many nuggets. One of them was, I feel like I'm running on a treadmill in my business. It feels like I'm putting the horse before the plow. And I was like, that's so good. So I wrote it down like right when he said and added it to my document, because that's something that's so relatable. And now I use it all the time. Like, do you ever feel like you're running on like a treadmill in your business? Like you're moving so much, but you're not getting anywhere. People are like, yes, that's exactly how I feel. Okay, so great ways to do customer research.
Yeah, so true. And I think that there's so many easier ways now, like you talked about, if you're doing a discovery call or you're having a coffee chat with someone, the best thing is you can have Zoom actually just transcribe that for you. Yeah. So then you can just pop that into the notes in your CRM and you've got everything right there with that person. So yeah, it's gotten easier. And then you can also take that transcript, pop it into AI, and have AI pull out any relevant points for you.
I was just about to say that. I was like, what I do now is I'll find a bunch of comments or just take the whole note section from my call or a transcript and just ask AI, hey, can you pull me out any emotionally charged phrases related to this? And it will literally write out like verbatim, like these awesome phrases. And then you can just copy and paste those into your document. So AI is awesome.
Yeah, I love that you call it emotionally charged phrases, because that's very, very specific, isn't it? And, you know, and our listeners know if they've used AI, you know, you've got to give it the right prompts in order to get the right information. So I love that, emotionally charged.
New buzzword, Jeannie. We're gonna take that from you, James. We're bowing down to that one again.
So back to like the core topic though, when you want to create a course, a lot of people think that it's going to take me forever to build this thing. And I like to take this approach of when I'm doing my market research, I'm doing calls. So I focus now on the most efficient path to building a product, which is I'm going to talk to people. Because by far, like, yes, you can do YouTube comments, you can do Facebook groups, you can do Reddit threads, like blogs. There's so many things that you can do to find emotionally charged phrases. They can be time consuming. The fastest way to get really good information is to talk to a handful of people, which is the process of enrolling clients. So why not enroll clients? And as you're enrolling them, you're doing market research, you're learning about them, you're just keeping note of things and being intentional about it. And as you work with clients through a process, why not build your course for them and just give them access to it as a part of, you know, the coaching program? And it's like, nobody's ever complained to me being like, wait, you're like building this course as you're coaching me? They're just like, sweet, I'm getting extra content that's going to teach me this stuff. So on the call, we can actually do it. And that is a way better way to create courses. So that's what I do now. And it's been like, I get paid to build my courses because I'm coaching people through the process. And based on what they need, I create a lesson for them. And usually I like to coach a couple people, because if people are saying the same thing and I just kind of intuitively know that like this is going to help a lot of people, then yeah, I make a lesson for it and just add it to the course and just build it with the person as I'm getting paid to do it.
I love that. We do it just a little bit differently, but I'm taking notes on that because that's a good strategy too. We'll try to try that one, Jeannie. I actually try to talk, like I said, to 50, 75 to 100 people. And I have very clear questions that I'm asking them. I need to get a baseline of what people know and what they don't know. But what happens is when you're talking to those people, people don't realize the last question I ask is, well, when we roll this out, do you want me to reach back out to you? And, you know, a lot of people say yes. And sometimes you have people say, well, when are you going to do it? I want it now. And so it really is interesting when you have the conversations with people. Then we usually run 2 to 3 betas. So we offer at a lower price. We get 20, 30 people in the beta. we teach it live, we get feedback, we tweak it the next, so we're correcting things and adding to the program as we're teaching it, probably very much like you are, as you're getting real life feedback. And that's huge.
Yeah, this is what's known as the minimum viable product, or the MVP. It's phenomenal. It's really big in the tech industry, but why couldn't we do that for courses? So that's why a lot of people do promote the minimum viable product approach. And I think like the big mindset shift for me is that a lot of people think I have to put in all of this work to build this asset, which is my course, and get it perfect, and then put it out to the market, have it sell for me over and over again. It's like, no, it's not going to be perfect. So even when I build a program working with clients through a process, I'm always thinking, what is the leanest, fastest way to get them from point A to point B? What's only the necessary, like need to know information, not nice to know. People pump their courses with nice to know information, and that's why people don't finish their courses. I have a client who, she's a notary, and she built a course teaching people how to become notary signing agents because she's been very successful with it. We were just like working on, stuff. She was making like $2,000 a month. We hadn't even finished her sales page. And I looked over and I saw the client or the student, progress. And she was getting like 80 to 90% course completion rates in her course because we only focused on need to know information, like what's actually important. Most people get like sub 13%. So I was like, this is incredible. She was so new. She's like, is it? Like, I don't know. I'm like, yes, that is very unnormal, like unnaturally good. So that's the power of building things like for people when they need it. And, I've reshot my courses. I've updated them. And I think that it's not just this one fixed thing. It's something that you should update and you should tweak. Like Effortless Income is my flagship program. And I just did a huge facelift on it basically because I've learned so much more working with people. And people enjoyed the course, but I knew that it could be better. And it had been a couple of years. So I just decided I'm going to go through and redo it. And now it's like a way better course and people love it. So I think it's something that we shouldn't just one-off thing. And this is like a whole nother conversation that's really been on my mind lately about how people are so big on scale. And I get it. But when you're in the education space, I don't think that that's why you should get into the education space, but a lot of people do. I'm a fan of work fewer hours. Definitely I have a VA. Freaking awesome. It's amazing. And it gives me so much more time to pour into my clients. If people ask questions inside of my course, I can give them a really thoughtful, helpful response instead of just no comments at all, see you later. I personally want to help people. So I love scalability, but to an extent. And I think that people just get so lost in I want to not talk to anybody, and it's but that's the whole point of this business. You're educating and you're teaching, you're helping people. So your course should update and change over time, and it should be definitely an asset that helps you free up more time and make you money while you sleep and all that. But yeah, I think that we should still be there to support our clients.
I think people forget things change, because we're in the marketing and outsourcing space, and AI is coming along. There's so many things that are changing. So we are updating and we are adding supplemental content, as things evolve. But it's really funny for us, and Jeanne, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but all of our biggest shifts in how we teach have really come from our clients. It's come from really listening to them. Because when we first started creating courses about outsourcing, we really thought it was such a valuable tool for people to know how to hire. And so we would give them the job description and the job post and all the interviewing questions. And we give them everything that they needed to be successful in hiring the virtual assistants. And then we provided all the standard operating procedures that the virtual assistant would do all the tasks based on. And we heard a lot of feedback was, I just wish you could hire for me. And so that's what really shifted our business. So now we hire all of our clients' virtual assistants for them and train them. But we're not a marketing agency. We're not an outsourcing agency. So our clients are still directly hiring a virtual assistant to work for them. That person joins their team. But we just did all the work in the middle to make sure that they're getting a really well-trained person who is an expert in that particular area. And that was something we would have never considered if it hadn't been brought up by 2 or 3 different people. And then when they brought it up, we talked about it and we said, well, would it be worth this much more money to you? It's going to cost more if we do this. And the feedback was hands down, yes. Because again, it's like any other skill. If you don't use that skill on a regular basis, you're not going to be very good at it. So if you're just hiring a virtual assistant, every few years, it's not something you're really going to become great at. All of our best insights and upgrades to our programs, I think, have really come from listening to our clients. And it sounds like that's what you're doing, and because you truly care about them. Like you said, it's not just about scaling, it's about really helping people. And I think the best thing we can do is really listen to them and their needs.
Yeah. And you heard that from what, 3-4 people or something, but you knew automatically, intuitively, that's a genius idea. And that would help so many people. So that's like the thing that I would encourage the listener to just pay attention to. It's like, feedback is great. You don't have to say yes to every piece of feedback you get. That was insightful for me when I was growing my business. A mentor told me that. I'm like, oh, great. I don't have to say yes. But yeah, if you know, like, wow, that's a great point. That's really going to help people. Or like, yeah, a couple of people are running into the same exact issue, then chances are thousands of people are, or millions even, you know? I've done that many times with my course, and that's why I continuously add to it. I think of my courses as like this ever evolving asset, you know? And that doesn't mean that it's requiring me to be inside of it every day. I just check in when it makes sense or when people really feel that they need something.
Let's talk about, how do you help your clients differentiate what they offer versus what their competitors offer?
Yeah, this is a really big thing. When it comes to courses, I have 6 key differentiators that I think about when we're going to go build a course. So I think it's big to, when you think about building a course, especially when other people have programs, like you're going to teach people about relationships or singing or outsourcing or anything like that. Chances are there's a lot of programs and courses out there. So what makes you different? Why would somebody buy from you? Well, I'll run through really quick the 6 key differentiators. The first one is the result. So the result is, can I get this result bigger and better than other people? You know, you guys kind of did that with your outsourcing program about the result being, we're going to do this for you, you know? So it's like, you're still going to get a highly trained VA that's perfect for you, and we're going to do it for you. Okay. So it's like, it's a little bit of the result, but if you think like, what is a large, unique, and highly in-demand skill or result that people really want to achieve, and is nobody else really helping them kind of do that? You guys are the first people I've heard that will just like hire them for you. It's like, oh, that's amazing. No one else is really offering that. Okay, so what's the result? The other thing is the time frame. Are people saying that this thing's going to take, 3 months or 6 months plus? Like, great example is if you're going to buy a business. I had a client and he would help people not necessarily buy the entire business in 5 weeks, but get the ball rolling in 5 weeks. That was something that other people said would take 6 months plus. And it would take like years until you could buy the business. And he was helping people do it in like a couple months, just like, because he was just way more efficient with this process and way more direct. So time frame is another thing. If you can genuinely help people get something done in a faster time frame, that is a lot more intriguing to someone who's considering buying it. It's like if I had a button and I'm like, hey, click this and you'll have your dream body. Probably totally fake, but if it were true somehow, or eat this magic bean and you'll have your dream body. And if I actually had proof to back it up, then you'd be like, oh, that's way easier. I would just do that, and that's kind of like the next one. It's the time frame, but also effort. Can you make this process easier for someone compared to other options? People love fast, they love easy, they love big results. Okay, so if you can genuinely do this, that's the thing. You have to be able to actually like back this up. The next one is experience. And this is kind of like the actual experience in and of itself. Sometimes experience is just because they learned it from you. I always tell people when they're like, I really want to get into the dating niche, but there's all these other people like teaching dating. How am I supposed to stand out? And I always tell them like, it's your story. It's who you uniquely are that makes people want to buy from you. I have that. And people buy from me and they're like, yeah, I was looking into this person, and this person. I even hopped on sales calls. I was going to buy their course, but then I bought yours. And I'm like, those people are my heroes. Why did you buy from me? And they're like, because you just made sense to me, and your stories made sense and they were relatable. Okay, so experience. This is also another big thing that you guys have done with your VA like hiring process. It's the experience. Wait, I don't have to do this. So you guys have already combined like the results and effort and experience. Okay, you're going to get me the thing and I don't even really have to do it. Like, you're combining multiple differentiators. Okay, next one's pain avoidance. Can you help somebody get the desired result without the usual struggles, like building a website without coding? That's been a huge thing, but now that's kind of saturated. Okay, because everybody's like no code websites. So now what's the new thing? And then cost, obviously. How can you price your program differently so it stands out from all the other options in your space? Sometimes having a cost that is lower can actually make you way more money if everybody else is charging hundreds or thousands of dollars for this thing, and then you come in with a product that's $47. Great example of this is the guys from contentcreators.com. They built a program called 14-Day Filmmaker. That was everything you needed to know to be a competent and successful filmmaker, and it was $47. And they're like, oh, it's going to be all these upsells, but nope, it's just $47. Ended up making millions and millions of dollars from that program, and they still do. Okay, so, but sometimes if people are charging really low, like $6 courses, and then you come through with a $300 or $500 course, people are like, why is yours so much more expensive? It must be better. Okay. So that's like some key differentiators. It's the result. Can you get them a bigger, better result than other options? The time frame, can you help them get it in a faster time frame? The effort, can you make this easier for people? Like I've done it for you. Experience, that's just kind of how are you experiencing it? Another example with that is like masterclass.com. Masterclass, basically you can learn investing from me, where I don't know a crazy amount about it. I do some, or you can learn investing from Warren Buffett. It's like, well, I'm going to learn from the dude. Okay. So that's part of experience. Result, time frame, effort, experience, and then pain avoidance. Can you help them avoid a pain that other people aren't really addressing? And then the cost as well. And the cool thing is you can mix and match these, kind of like you guys have with your program. You get them the results, the time frame, because they don't really have to put time into it, the effort as well, because you guys are going to do all the work to hire the VA. And then the experience is that's all kind of part of the experience too. Okay. 6 key differentiators right there.
I love that. So those are like tons of value bombs. So if you're listening to this while driving, you might want to listen to it when you're not, so you can write those down, because these are all perfect pieces of advice. And then do you take that and help people create their offer and turn it into that, minimum viable product? Is that what you do?
Yeah. So we want to start like looking at different offers that people are offering in your space. And a lot of them have similarities. So we want to take note of that. Like, are people, they're obviously saying a lot of similar things because that's what's working with the audience. It's a combination of this, but also listening to your audience and what do they really desire. And just thinking like, if everybody's offering this one thing, there's things I can learn from that, but how can I just kind of add a little bit of a twist to it? Because like success leaves clues. So you want to kind of stick with the things that are working, but adding a little bit of a twist just to make it a bit more of a unique course. So it feels like it's something fresh. And that's where you add those key differentiators.
I love this, James. This has been amazing. This has been so much value. So if people are saying, I love what he has to say, he's going to help me build my profitable course, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
You can go to Google and type in Profit Your Knowledge, and that will pop up. And anything on there will help you get onto my email list. You can buy products through my course or through my website. I mean, being on the list is great because I just add extra value. My YouTube channel is an awesome place. But yeah, if you just Google it, you'll find the podcast, the YouTube channel, the website, and all that kind of stuff. I'd recommend just getting onto my list because I offer specials and run different deals and that kind of stuff. So that's the best place to be.
I love this. James, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing all this amazing content, all these tips. I know I've got a ton of notes from what you've already said. So thank you again for joining us today.
Appreciate the time.
Thanks for listening to the 6-Figure Business Mastery Podcast. If you enjoyed listening to this episode and you are ready to leverage video marketing on all online platforms, or maybe even start your own video podcast, then you need to check out the Done For You and Done With You program at themarketingvaadvantage.com and take your business to the next level.